All right, we are live. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. My name is Kriti. I am the communications intern for Napof, Arizona. That is National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum, Arizona chapter. I use she/her pronouns, and I'm joined here today with Linda Arroyo from Tanner Community Development Corporation. And she is here to add to our Mouth Secrets dialogue series about oral health and reproductive justice. So welcome, Linda.
Thank you for having me.
So did you want to talk a little bit? So of course, this project is about oral health and reproductive justice, and TCDC is really heavily involved in this. Has been really heavily involved in this project. So I wanted to ask you if you want to talk a little bit about the work that y'all do.
Okay, first of all, I'll tell you about Tanner Community Development Corporation. We were established in 2001, and we are the nonprofit faith-based organization. We are the 501c3 outreach arm of the historic Tanner Chapel AME Church, which was established in Arizona before Arizona was a state in 1885. So the folks have been here doing good community work for a very long time. And TCDC, we deliver a variety of programs and services to support struggling families and elderly in Central and South Phoenix, but not necessarily all the time. We service all of Phoenix. And our focus is on youth development, drug and alcohol prevention, early childhood education, seniors, including grandparents raising grandchildren. So we do the Children and Kinship Care program. We offer utility assistance, SNAP enrollments, access enrollment. So you normally say that we take care of you from the womb to the tomb.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Okay, so really, with the early childhood development piece and focusing on the grandparents raising grandchildren, then the education around oral health always comes into play, because for children, you have to teach them how to brush their teeth. And for grandparents, as they've already been through all of that experience, but refreshing them on the importance of oral health, not only for the children that they're raising, but for themselves. Please take out your dentures, wash them, put them in the cup, and then put them back in. So for the young women, the young men and women that we do encounter, probably back in 2011, 2012, TCDC partnered with the Arizona Department of Health Services, and there was a program called Live It, Change It. And that particular program really focused on preparing young people who were thinking about parenting to make sure that they were healthy. So making sure that you're healthy, of course, involves dental health.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in an underserved community, that's kind of difficult when you're just trying to keep body and soul together.
Mm-hmm.
So, dental health is just an ongoing challenge for everybody. And if it's not included, if you're lucky enough to have health care and that is not included in there, then most of the times folks will forego everything else, but they're not going to get dental health. So that's a major challenge in all communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Sounds like y'all do some really, really awesome work. I was reading a little bit about the family preservation project that you were telling me about before, and I was kind of, talking about like storytelling and connecting to like ancestral values and things like that. I was kind of wondering, and you were telling me about y'all do some trainings on trauma-informed care, and kind of linking to that. Why do you think trauma and care is important, and how do you see its importance in addressing ancestral trauma?
For trauma-informed care, again, for many of us, and particularly in the Black, brown, and red communities, we do not address the issues around why we're acting one way or feeling one way or talking one way or thinking one way or doing certain things. When you have a trauma-informed approach, and the trauma-informed approach really is more for, I'd say, mental health professionals and medical professionals when they're encountering community residents, coming in for whatever issues, not to ask them, what's going on? What did you do? That's not it. What was done to me?
Mm-hmm.
Because that particular question really does put you on the defensive, and it makes you feel that it was all your fault. And that's just not necessarily true. So by asking, well, what happened to you, kind of extends the hand that I'm here to assist you in whatever way I possibly can, and to help you help yourself, because most folks who have been traumatized and may not even know that they have been traumatized on some level, you can't speak to it. I always have this stomach ache. Why? I always have this niggling headache. Why? If I happen to see some very large white truck coming down the street, I get frozen. There's a reason why. And many times we bury our traumas because if you don't think about it, it may not necessarily have happened. And for historical trauma, again, that just extends back so far, and it is passed on from generation to generation. In the Bible, they talk about generational curses. In the African American community, many times they'll talk about generational curses. But when they speak on that, I don't think there is the understanding that some of the generational curse comes out of the environmental curse, the real curse of being, for many people, and not all Black and brown people, who were snatched from a continent, from different countries in a continent, brought here, stripped of your language, really your culture. When you're stripped of all these different things, how do you begin? How do you start again? So you take on what's told to you. When you're put in the box, you do whatever you can to survive. So again, that culture of just surviving and not necessarily thriving, that's something else. So for us to be able to get folks to realize that there may have been some trauma in their past life, past generation, again, that's about self-reflection. So we do teach, for you to look at yourself and to look at others, and just kind of build a community of resistance, with individually, with your family, and in the community. And that is really what's going to make, I think, a bit of a change. And it's very important to do a little self-reflection. It's hard, it's painful, but you do have to do that. And again, for this year of 2020, for all that has gone on, I think we've been forced to look within and speak for ourselves in a different way. So.
Yeah, that's really important. My next question, I guess I can tie in the last two. So how do you think messaging and outreach efforts can improve, particularly for Black folks when it comes to pregnancy and oral health, and also like tying into like trauma-informed care. And what advice would you have for people who are pregnant or are expecting?
Okay. So messaging, again, we're going to, look back, look within yourself. But for the other piece, that piece of advice, really, it's about achieving a sense of balance. So that's mental balance, spiritual balance, a physical balance. And if you are expecting, find ways to get to your dentist, because if you're pregnant and you have gum issues, that is going to affect the child. When they say you are what you eat, everything that's in your mouth is actually going into that child. And the first 3 months are the most crucial, because that's when they're, laying the brain. And if you have problems with your mouth, that's going to affect that child. So there may be, low birth weight. There may be other problems that will affect that infant. But if you go into your pregnancy with a sense of wholeness, that I know me, I have some kind of balance, I have some kind of support, within the family or outside of the family or within my community. I'm developing some form of spiritual connection, because we do need that. And just that family support, community support, but you have to have balance in all things. You just can't hang out there willy-nilly. And just ask somebody. One of the things that has been lost in the culture, when we had community, when we lived with grandparents, or the folks down the street took care of us, you had somebody to instruct you in how to at least live in the community. So that is what we need to get back to, that large circle of support. Hopefully that kind of answered your question. I wasn't running on.
No, that's great. That's really important. I think, again, thank you, Linda, for joining us. Do we have any questions in the audience? Are there any comments? All right. Yes. We see an appreciation for you, Linda, as always, in building a community of resistance.
Resistance and resilience.
100%. Yes. Yes. Rael has a question. So a lot of the work we do is intergenerational. What advice do you have for older community members, and what advice do you have for younger community members about working together?
Number one, we should be a family. We're not diametrically opposed to each other. We have to reimagine the concept of family, because everybody has to be involved. And like I said, for me as an elder, I do surround myself with younger people, because they have a lot to teach me, but I found that they have been very accepting of the things that I don't consider it teaching. I just consider it talking about stuff. But they've been very accepting, and I've over the years, I've gotten some incredible, letters back saying that I did something for them. Who knew?
Well, you're doing something for all of us now. So
okay.
Really appreciate you coming in and joining us. And so hope everyone enjoyed this live, and be sure to check out TCDC and all the wonderful work that they do. Thank you again so much to Linda for joining us today, and for educating us, and for gracing us with all of your wisdom. So really, really, really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Krithi.
Yeah, of course. And I think that just about wraps up our live.